stop, die, stop having children, stop driving cars, go back to bicycles, and then we have people being born who really want to live. They'd like to grow up and actually have air conditioning in their house. They'd like to grow up and actually raise a family, and they are being run out of business, so to speak, by a regulatory environmentalist scam, which is really a religion from the ancient world that has come back to destroy truly Christianity is what they're after. And the Christian system of free enterprise, which the Pilgrim Fathers founded 400 years ago. That puts it in a nutshell.
Well,
That's our problem.
Yeah, it just seems to me a lack of common sense. You know, look we have to, there's a necessity of cultivating the earth in order to grow food and eat. I mean, we have to subdue the earth, as Scripture says, to some extent, or we'll all starve. And, Christ taught that, declared that all foods were clean in Scripture, and that human beings are much more valuable in God's sight than animals, and to have dominion over the animal kingdom, since they're God's provision for the human race. And, the reason I say this, Marshall, is I can't help but to mention, I remember right in California, not far from you, in the San Joaquin Valley, I think it was 2009, there was a terrible and totally unnecessary man-made drought in central California. The San Joaquin Valley, which includes cities like Fresno and Bakersfield, I guess, it's one of the most productive agricultural areas in the entire world. But the water needed to flow from upstream rivers into that valley, and it was diverted due to the enforcement of the environmental regulations. What happened was the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service issued a biological opinion that would protect this 3-inch fish called the Delta smelt. And as a result of this regulation they imposed, literally tens of billions of gallons of water were diverted away from, and to flow right into the ocean. And it left these farms, this beautiful agricultural land, Marshall, right near you, parched and dry. And people lost their jobs. And I remember Arnold, the governor, he wouldn't do anything. The president had the authority to take action, but they didn't do anything. Presumably because of their indebtedness to the environmental forces out there. But, this is where I get back to the point of the theology, which I talked about in the beginning, because Christ, who also told his disciples, you are more value than many sparrows, he would no doubt say to this needless drought-stricken California farmer, you are more value than the many Delta smelt. And he would have gotten the water running again. And who would have ever thought that, and it caused 40% unemployment out there. Now, I mean, to me, that's just amazing that was allowed to happen. And it affected the poor more than anything else, right, Marshall?
Well, that's right. It affected a 40% unemployment rate. Whole counties were decimated. And this is the most productive agricultural area in the world. That valley produces more fruits and vegetables than any other location in the world, and is so productive, helping the poor all over the world, as well as in other places, as well as the jobs that are created. And it was just an environmental scam. And it's brought up because of a religious view called pantheism. And people don't understand that Mother Gaia is behind all this. Going back to an ancient Greek goddess, Mother Gaia, or the earth, who is our goddess or our mother. And this perspective ties in with ancient pantheistic religions, which touches of in much of Eastern religions. You've had contact with this over in India, I'm sure, John, where their pantheism is rampant, and their worshiping of the animals, and animals have spirits too, and you might come back as an animal in the next life, reincarnation. Well, this idea of pantheism has worked its way deeply into the environmentalist movement. And it's the idea, just to give you a definition in a nutshell, makes no distinction between the creator and the creature. According to pantheism, God is not transcendental, which means God is not sovereign. He's not separate, and he can't plan to do with his earth what he wants. It's up to us to make sure that we don't harm our little snail darter who could be our mother in our next life. In practical terms, God is in all, and all is part of God, according to pantheism. Because the entire creation and God are one, there is a close relation to animism, where animals, trees, flowers, insects, and human beings are all part of God, and God is in all of them. Consistent with that, then you can't do anything. They are our brothers. They are our God. And so this idea of Mother Gaia, which worked its way into the Super Bowl in 2003, when Madonna came out of the loins of a 18-story high Mother Gaia in an environmentalist halftime show, people are being brainwashed into this conception that the earth is static, the resources are limited, there is no God who will intervene to provide for us, but there is only this small, shrinking group of resources that we must divide up until we need less and less people, more and more bicycles, and no more technology. And this is destroying the future of families, the future of civilization, if it continues. I think the scam is about ready to be up, as people are beginning to awaken to the reality of this scam. That it's not only it's a religion from the ancient world, which brought nothing but the creation of not even the wheel, and it's also a tie between socialists who lost it when the fall of the Soviet Union happened in 1991. Those socialists and communists from the college campus of America had no place to go. So millions of them moved into the environmentalist movement, save the whales, save the pets, save the world from what? From Christian free enterprise and from this Christian God and from this Christian idea that I'm accountable to that God to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, and to certainly in an environmentally strong way, don't destroy the earth, but replenish the earth, make it a better place. Man's call on earth, according to the Bible, is to take dominion over it in a loving way and to make it a better place. They don't like that because that means you have to obey the Creator and his creative plan. If someone is rebelling against God, they want to create their own world and they want to be on top of it. And that's what socialism and communism is all about, controlling other people's wealth, controlling other people's actions, and they do it through a religious guise of concern for the environment.
If you'd like to contact us or you have any comments, go on the web to thestoryofliberty.net. That's thestoryofliberty.net. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was going to say with Marshall, in your comments on this Gaia principle, you have to go back to 1965, with Paul Ehrlich's book, The Population Bomb, and the formula that has been formatted to calculate impact on environment versus what you can do about it. And, of course, that impact, he created a formula called I equals PAT, P-A-T. Impact is the population equals the population times affluence times technology. Now, I have to say, this weekend, my family and I have an organic farm, and we were out wrestling with thistles and thorns, mosquitoes, and the physical body, which is called my aging back, as we had to toil to put in the different plants and plow fields. And if I did not have technology, we feed more than one family. We feed many families off of one piece of land, which we as a family work together to produce all this produce. But if we did not have technology, if we did not have the capital to invest, or the population, which is my children and my wife and I, and some helpers, we could not produce the food at an equitable price, nor could we even produce it to feed other people who wish to buy the product. And then, of course, they prosper by having that good food. So we have to understand this formula in the context of what Marshall called Gaia. Its population is bad, affluence or capital is bad, and technology is bad, because those three things impact the environment. So guess what? We reduce the population. That, in fact, impacts all of us because now the laborers aren't there to produce whatever goods and services we need. That will be our number one shortage in the next 20 to 30 years is population, even though Mr. Ehrlich would say, no, there's too many people. Affluence, that's capital. Again, that's taxation. We want to take the capital away from people, move it to government, and government will somehow, through a series of organizations like LEADS or the environmental groups or any other organization, will redistribute or reappropriate that money in a way that's good. And, of course, we know that never works.
Right.
Last but not least is technology. Well, technology has given us the ability to increase our science to pull out of the earth the resources we need. If you think about this, at the turn of the century, people worked most of their day to get a loaf of bread. Today, we work only a fraction of our day to get a loaf of bread.
Okay, we're going to break away. We'll be right back with the story of liberty.